Hi, travelers. I'm coming today with an open reading. A couple of things first, a couple of clients. Miss Abera, I did get your second email, your first email that came through with your questions. The questions didn't display, so I got them and I'm going to do you another reading, okay? Uh, Miss Coachella, your reading is in the pipes, so as soon as I finish this one down, I'm going to go ahead and send you yours. It's completed and it's done. All right. Welcome, new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, old subscribers, for sticking with me. Let's have a little chit chat, a little coffee clutch right now. For a year, 2 years now, and I've been talking to y'all about Pluto and Capricorn. And this is what you see in terms of the government shutdown. Okay. So, Pluto is about power and control. Who has power and who doesn't? In the sign of Capricorn, this is about the government because that's what Capricorn rules. Heads of state, presidents, prime ministers. It rules the working class people because it is about your job, the industry, the career that you work in. It deals with promotions, resignations, retirements, climbing the social ladder to get from where you are to where you want to be. What does it take? We also have Saturn sitting in Capricorn. That is his natural ruler. Saturn always will typically represent an older male, someone who is stuck, slow, and fearful, but always operates from a baseline of fear. Fear of being usurped in power. And then we have Jupiter, who has entered into the sign of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius rules the masses on a worldwide scale. I have been talking till I'm blue in the face about how I do the asteroid astrology. Asteroid astrology works because it shows you what is happening in a real world. So I have been telling you what happens on a global scale. And by global, I don't just mean the entire world. I mean that happens in your state, your city, your country, your town, the hamlet, the village that you live in. When things are changing there, it will eventually affect you in your back pocket. Now, some of you may be federal workers or contract workers. Some of you may not. But guess what? We may not be getting our tax returns. So this is what I mean when I tell you that shit will hit you in your pocket eventually. This is how I use the astrology. Okay? And I've been warning you guys of this since probably the end of 2016 that this was going to come. Now, Pluto will spend time, I think he leaves in 2020. But then we've got this idea of Uranus, who just entered into Taurus. Taurus rules your own bank account, your mortgages, your loans that you yourself own personally, your charities, your business, not finances and physical security as they relate to something that you may have in a marriage. But this is your own personal finances. If you are in partnership or in marriage with someone and your own personal finances are being affected, okay, that affects the relationship. That affects that joint bank account, right? Or those joint mortgages and loans and personal possessions that you own. But he went back into Uranus. He entered Taurus, I think May 8th or May 9th. Was there for like a couple of weeks, and then he turned right back around and went back into Aries. So this is a resurgence of the things that we saw before he moved into Taurus. So Uranus and Aries are these, it represents this unexpected drive and will to push things forward, right? When you're dealing with someone, whether you like the president or not, you agree with his policies or not, you're looking at someone who's erratic, who loves attention, who's quick to anger, who speaks off the cuff, and who brings with him a whole bunch of chaos. The one thing that you can say about the president is expect the unexpected, because you never know what he's going to say, how he's going to react. He typically uses Twitter. Aries rules profiles, online profiles. So this is things like LinkedIn. It rules your business, your reputation, the way that you are perceived by other people. And so we have this convergence, this confluence of all of these weird things happening. literally, I never thought I'd hear somebody say who worked for the government, I'm going to have to rethink my career choices now. Why? Because the government is no longer stable. The government cannot provide my job. I cannot pay my bills. I tell you what, Secret Servicemen are not getting paid. Their job is to protect the president. Take bullets. Don't pay my ass, Mr. President. You taking bullets your damn self. Right? I'm not unpatriotic and I am not undutiful. My patriotism and my duty have a value. And I don't know what's wrong with the American people that they are not in the damn streets. Think back to Pluto, what happened under the last time Pluto. We saw America become a country. We saw the French Revolution. We saw the Industrial Revolution. We saw the women's movement, the civil rights movement. And these were all based upon the idea that there were certain groups or populations who had no power and control over their own lives, rising up against those who did have the power and control and changing things. So this is a huge shift. Uranus will not leave Taurus until 2026. And as I have been telling you, by the time 2020 comes, when Pluto gets ready to leave Capricorn, absolutely nothing will be the same. Because the person, the elected leader that has been chosen to run the country is tearing down the absolute foundation of what this country was built on. From the legal aspects to business to immigration to the way business is conducted, banking, all of these things are being usurped. Okay? And so you may not think any of this crap has anything to do with you. You may not be able to see the parallels, but trust me, eventually it's going to arrive and knock on your front door. If this is not the idea that meat and grains and stuff's going to go up because the farmers aren't getting their money, to the fact that if you were planning on getting that income tax return to pay off credit card bills or do whatever, you ain't going to get that shit. Okay? Things will not be the same. Everything is being changed because we have one person who presents as both Pluto, power and control, and Saturn sitting, and America is a Capricorn. For those of you who are website members, there is an article called The Capricorn Effect. Go in and read that article and you will see there's an alternate chart that I've cast for America. America is a Capricorn, okay? And our fortunes are linked inextricably to what is happening in Britain. All right. So it is history replaying itself. Now, with that being said, I'm a little chilly. Hold on one second. We're going to open the cards up. Because there's rumblings back and forth speaking about there could be some kind of deal, some kind, and the thing is, there may be a really, really good compromise, and then at the last minute, the president don't accept it. And then he garners all of the attention, and then he sucks more oxygen out of the room and hogs up more airspace, right? On TV and Twitter and newspaper, online publications. So, and that's another thing that Jupiter rules. Jupiter rules the internet and communication to the masses. So, Jupiter offers solutions and he offers opportunities, but the negative side of that is corruption and greed and selfishness, overindulgence, these kinds of a thing. If you can identify the body, Moon, Sun, planet, Uranus, Mercury, Mars, Venus, you can see and the Roman myths surrounding those particular bodies as people, the archetypes, you can actually see everything playing out. It is one of the most astounding things I have ever seen. And so when you have this kind of an information, you can in effect kind of see what's coming down the pike. You may be able to, if not change and alter the course of what's happening for yourself, perhaps mitigate some of the damage. All right. It is an invaluable resource. I've been using it in my own life to plot my way through my business and things that I want to accomplish for myself. and it has been an invaluable resource. I do have a transit tutorial with over on the website. When you purchase it, you get your charts. I teach you how to read the transits. You get ebooks that go along with it. I teach you how to cast your own chart so that you can look at things for yourself, because we are, as a country and a whole, we're all in the same boat. Jupiter and Sagittarius, we're all in the same boat. All of us, we are inextricably linked to each other. And so what happens here in this country will affect each and every one of us in some way, shape, or form, even if it's through 6 degrees of separation. All right? So ain't nobody jumping out in the streets to help them federal workers now. But now that folks are learning that they may not be getting their income tax returns, okay, if the air traffic controllers just walk off the job, this whole country's going to be shut down. Okay? It won't just be the government won't be functioning. It will literally mean people cannot leave or come in. Services, goods, things of that nature. This will affect you in some way. Okay? So this is about I use the astrology from a realistic standpoint. All right? And this is it's a huge mess. Well, look at that. The Fool card showed up upside down. That's a Uranus card. Well, isn't that something? So let's just open the cards and see what the cards may have to say. Well, okay. The High Priestess. There is the 9 of Swords. Now, I have seen the Fool and the High Priestess card when they show up together to speak to issues of dementia, Alzheimer's, some kind of mental disconnect happening. Okay, we see that here with the 9 of Swords, that there's a lot of fear and worry and anxiety. The High Priestess represents getting in touch with your intuition, but it also talks about those things that come up from the psychological deep. Okay, and knowing what the true answer is, but maybe questioning that. This could also be the idea that there's conflicting and confusing information coming in from an intuitive level. There's the Queen of Swords. Well, there is the Strength card. Here is the 7 of Pentacles. So far, no repeater numbers. There's the 9 of Cups. Here is the 2 of Swords. So now I have 2 twos. 2 twos speak to partnerships, engagements, marriages, romances. But what are those particular things if not some kind of contractual or partner? And partnerships are not always romantic, right? There's the Star card. Wow. What I can tell you, basically from this Star card, is don't give up hope. This is a moment. It is indeed a very difficult moment, but a moment nonetheless. And we really need some kind of clarity. And I've got these 3 cards of clarity and truth, and strength being required to face your fears, to grab that beast by the mouth and tame it. I have 2 9s here. 2 9s will oftentimes speak to a change of address or residence. Now, this could even be simply in the context of a career. Maybe you got to change jobs. You know, people. I understand why people aren't protesting in the streets, because they don't want to lose their jobs, but they don't. In effect, they're working for free. Slavery and indentured servitude is against the law. It is the 13th Amendment. Okay, and again, it goes back to the value. My skills, my knowledge, the things that I can help do to produce work, whatever the case may be, to help grease the wheels, and this particular be the cog to help, this machinery move. I'm not being paid what I'm worth and for what I do. What do you do about that? Some people are having to quit anyway to go find work so that they can pay their bills, so that they're not evicted on the street. People's credit is taking a hit. They can't feed their families. They can't pay their car loans. You need gas to get back and forth to work. You got to pay car insurance. If you don't have a car, maybe you got to take public transportation. Well, you got to decide between, do I spend this X amount of dollars to take public transportation, or do I take these few little dollars and add them into a bill or buy food and or medication? So there are lots of choices. There are lots of things, real world things that people are having to deal with. That is, I think, unlike anything anybody's ever seen before. What's underneath the deck? The Five of Pentacles. Now, yes, this card speaks to scarcity. Yes, it speaks to a lack of finances, a lack of financial security. There's financial security, there's physical security, there's food security, there's mental security, and I think people lots of people are upset and worried, as rightly they should be. Now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana cards. For those of you who are new to my channel, the major arcana cards are the big spiritual lessons, and they take more sway than these pip cards, and the pip cards are our numbered cards. So in essence, what we're looking at is the 7 of Pentacles, the 9 of Cups, and the 2 of Swords. I have one court card here. She represents, the Queen of Swords represents the sign of Libra. Libra is it's the house of partnerships, or the house of contracts. But it is also about harmony, beauty, and right relationships. In order for us to gain anything, or to get anything, or to move forward in life, we have to, she's ruled by Venus, we have to be able to interact with people in such a way that we can convince them to cooperate with us, right? It is the balance. The sign of Libra also rules divorces, separations, bankruptcies, marriages, any kind of legal or contractual issue, but it's a public affair. It's a public house. Now all of your shit is out in the open, okay? Everything from the first house over to the 6th house below the horizon, that's the hidden house. These are things that happen behind closed doors, so to speak. And everything above that, from house 7 over to 12, is the public sphere, okay? Everything that's out in the open. Now, 2 9s also speak to the idea of one of you needs to spend more time alone. Well, I think many of you might be alone already, or at least at the very least kind of feeling alone. What bothers me about this particular reading is this upside down Fool card. That's how it flew out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the 9 of Swords, the 7 of Pentacles, the 9 of Cups, and the 2 of Swords as they relate to the Fool, the High Priestess, the Strength, and the Star card. If you have to go into battle, the Queen of Swords is who you want to be. Now, traditionally, she is interpreted as the divorcee. Can typically be somebody who's rude and obstinate and unsympathetic, bitter maybe. That's the negative side of the Queen. And I honestly feel that the Queen of Swords gets a bad rap from that interpretation, because the Queen of Swords is somebody who can see a straight line from A to B, okay? Without sentiment, without a bunch of fluff. She knows what needs to be said. She knows what needs to be done. She is a mastermind. She is calculating, has a negative connotation, but the good side of calculation is that you're able to weigh up the pros and the cons of something, okay, and then make your move. So she's strategic. She speaks the truth. She gives good advice. Can be a great counselor. And dispassionately, she can administer justice. In effect, she's holding the sword of truth. Okay? And what she's doing is she's inviting in the truth. Now, if she don't like what the truth is, or she sees a flaw in that particular logic, she'll cut your head off. But sometimes that is the energy in which you have to embody to get through things. As a profession, she can be a soldier or a doctor, a dentist, a surgeon, a writer, an editor. Any place or any type of job that requires clear thinking and logic and analytical skills, and then being able to communicate that. But also, she represents the idea of tact and diplomacy. Remember, as Venus, we sometimes have to speak our truth, but we may have to temper what we say so that we can get people to come along with us, right? Now, I have 1 cup card, 3 swords, and a pentacle in the spread itself. I think for many of you, your plans went awry. The shit just went sideways. And now the question becomes, what do I do to work on my dreams? These are 2 cards of wishes, hopes, and dreams. What do I do? Do I pick up that other pentacle and put it on that bush? I've been tending this bush. I've been growing these things. I've been invested in it. And right now I need to stop and determine, what am I going to do next? Is this enough for me? Or do I have space and room enough to pick up 1 more and add it? That card can sometimes be about waiting for the harvest to come in. Okay? Maybe what we're looking at, instead of determining are we going to pick this up and put it on a thing, maybe what we're looking at is the start of something new, a new project that's trying to grow, it's trying to come to life, and we got to contemplate that. This is literally people having to determine whether they're going to stay in the profession that they're in, or whether they're going to retire altogether, or whether they're going to have to everything that they've invested in their profession thus far, are they going to have to leave that and start on something new? So 7s speak to a moment of internal personal conflict. This comes from within, not from without. 5s deal with circumstances beyond your control. Okay? Now, let's go to the cards. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this reverse Fool card. And I never like to see him show up like that. But again, it's a moment. Insecurities, uncertainties, folly, negligence, absence, carelessness, apathy and vanity, recklessness and irresponsibility. Irrational impulses, foolishness, and poor judgment are some of the negative aspects of this card, particularly when it appears reversed in the spread. It may be implying that you need to be strong in your own resolve rather than listening to other people's views and opinions. She typically doesn't say anything. She knows exactly how shit's going to play out. It may be implying that, yeah, I just read that. Hold on. It says that if this applies to you, the Fool, that you may be in doubt, uncertainty, and or fear at this time. It speaks of folly, stupidity, and bad decisions and choices. It tells of one who never finishes what one starts. It also indicates that you may be inclined to extravagant behavior that could lead to your own downfall. Have more thought for the consequences of your actions. It may represent uncertainty and doubt and bring insecurity to the fore. It speaks to uncertainty and fear. It tells of choosing the easier path, even at one's own expense. And this is what this is saying to me, that some of you are sitting by, perhaps doing nothing, or fearful of doing nothing, or ignoring what your intuition is telling you. And that's being done out of fear. It says that one's behavior can tend towards irritability and one may become excessive. Childishness and irresponsibility are indicated when the Fool appears reversed. Therefore, it can be taken as a warning to be more responsible and to have more thought for the consequences of one's actions. It signifies that a foolish choice or decision has been made. It is telling you to be strong within and listen to your own inner voice before making your next move. Ensure that you are happy and satisfied with the way things are progressing in your life, and if not, change them. And this is what some of you are struggling with. I don't have enough information. I don't know what to do. If you are troubled, the reverse Fool card encourages you not to worry or stress, but rather summon the courage to discuss your position with those concerned. Counselor. And it keeps referring to strength. It's right in the center. And courage. That's right in the center. It may be indicating indecisiveness and irresponsibility. At times, it may even be indicating mental illness and or madness. Yeah, this shit enough to make you crazy. Appearing reverse, it tells that you may be repeating the same mistakes over and over. It is time to stop, look around critically, then make the relevant changes. It may also be an indication of upcoming chaos, disturbances, and possible upheaval. It tells of being unaware and naive in an important situation or experience. It indicates that this is not a good time to make binding commitments. Why? Because it just ain't the time. The astrology is not right. And sometimes that's what this card can be about. The astrology and the cosmology of it. And so what you are being asked to do is not to give up your hopes and dreams. Maintain your own cups, your own balance as much as you possibly can. And keep your eyes on the prize. Now, what I'm going to do is look at this, these cards as they relate to. We start with the Nine of Swords. Now, are you ready? The Nine of Swords next to the High Priestess is telling you to be prepared to face certain truths. It asks you to have no fear, as this will only hinder you. It is time to face facts and take responsibility. It brings a message that you must be prepared to face truths and not be afraid or fearful. That is why, people, the Strength card has come out in the center of this reading. All is not lost. It may seem like a dark time at the moment, one full of fear, uncertainty, and confusion. But it is a moment. You need to get clear within yourself about the truth of the situation, no matter what this is about, whether it's romance, it's business, it's finances, it's familial. You need to get real clear, real quick. Okay, and don't be afraid, because when the Nine of Swords shows up next to the Star, it asks you to have faith and be grateful for the gifts already received in your life. Gratitude should be your attitude. It is telling you that all is not lost. Didn't I just say that? And you are asked to have faith and trust. Things may not seem as though they are going as you would like at this moment, but this will turn around in quick time, so keep the faith. Well, it can't turn around if you're fearful and you're worried and you're not sleeping. And I know maybe some of you who are listening to me, may be in a very difficult predicament, or you may have a family member who's in a... Look, I live in Corpus Christi, Texas. We have a naval base here. We have a large contingent of Coast Guard people. They are not being paid, and literally the community has been pitching in to help feed these people and to help them get their bills paid. Now, to make a comparison, there are people who are not government workers who face the same choices every day. So when I tell you that we are all in the same boat, this is what I mean. It's the universality, I can't, that's not even a word, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. It's the universal nature of things. It is about keeping faith and hope and finding the strength to just conquer what your fears are and do what you need to do. Now, we're going to look at the Seven of Pentacles here. You know, do not assume because I'm a card reader that my life is perfect, because it ain't. I go through trials and tribulations just like everybody else. And the funny thing is, I can read cards for you, but I can't read them for me. The cards are deaf when they come to telling me things. I pick up things, but it's never clear. So I have to use astrology to help me, okay? Because the cards just aren't working for me. Now, the, what the hell, the Seven of Pentacles, here we go, with the Nine of Cups. I want you to pay attention, please. This is an indication that now is a good time to make important decisions and make good, solid investments. Positive action taken at this time will lead to fruition of your goals and just rewards for your efforts. But many of you are just in a place where you don't see it. And I understand that. But sometimes you have to take a leap of faith, because right side up, that's what that card says. Even when you don't see a way through or a way out, you have to dig down very deep, quell those voices, the worry, the fear, the anxiety, right? And just do it. Just do it without knowing how things are going to turn out. But you got to have faith that it's going to turn out okay. It may not turn out exactly as you plan, and there may be a few curves thrown at you. But if you maintain that faith and that trust, that focus and that effort, plot and plan carefully, you can figure your way out of this situation. You can. And the universe is trying to help you. This is a moment where we're all being tasked to take a look at our lives and examine, what is it that we need? Do I really need a 5,000 square foot house? Do I really need whatever it is that, you know, you've been living your life the same way? Can you perhaps pare down and get to the truth of things? Be grateful for the things that you have, because everything is temporary, right? You know that old saying, can't take it with you? You can't. Now, Two of Swords. Uh-oh. And this is the card really that stands out the most to me. And this Nine of Swords to this Two gives me Seven Swords. So this is really about the idea of stuff being done in broad daylight, in your face. People stealing from you, lying to you, on many different levels. And you not being certain about the information that's coming in. So this could be a disinformation, what do you call it? Thing, you know, confusion, and sometimes it is about taking flight from the things you know you have to face up to. And what you got to face up to is that at this moment, for everybody in the United States, no matter if you are a contract worker, a government federal worker or not, there's shit coming down the pike that will affect you. Everybody in the United States is going to be affected by this. What are you being told? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Okay? Don't pay attention necessarily to what they're telling you. Pay attention to what they are doing. And if you look at that Seven of Swords, that's somebody running off with some shit in broad daylight. Okay? Two of Swords. They're doing it right out in the open. But yet we're too confused and too fearful and too complacent to determine what it is we're supposed to be doing about it. Now, let me read to you what the Two of Swords says. If you have been involved in a dispute with a friend or acquaintance, the presence of the Two of Swords indicates that an amicable solution will be found, with both parties feeling satisfied and positive about the dispute being resolved. This is why you're being asked to stop and think about this for a moment. Now, it says, it indicates that there is some sort of power struggle going on in your life. You are asked to weigh up the positive and negatives in a situation and make a clear decision or choice which will solve or at least alleviate the problem and or the solution or the situation. It may be indicating that reunions and or reconciliations will take place in your life at this time. Don't know. It may be indicating that the breakdown of a once close relationship and that there is an urgent need for a balanced and rational approach to the situation. And this is not just a romantic relation. This is your business relationship. The ones you've got with your creditors, the light company, the phone company, the loan company. Okay? So this is about a relationship in general. Is implying that calm and thought must be taken when making decisions and choices. Take the time to consider all options very carefully before making any firm commitments. Put off making choices until you are absolutely positive it is the right and most appropriate one. It tells of difficult decisions to be made, tough choices. It indicates weighing up the pros and cons and tells of important decisions and choices to be made. It may also indicate a stalemate in your affairs and a feeling of not knowing which way to turn. You may need to look at a new or different approach. Where the emotions are involved, the Two of Swords tells of mixed emotions and a feeling of confusion. This may lead to feelings of upset and sorrow. It may be foretelling of unsettling communications. Appearing in a reading, this is the key to and the key to achieving a satisfactory compromise is by open and honest communication. Do not allow prior grievances and bitterness to influence the communication. Once a compromise has been reached, you should feel a sense of achievement at having been open-minded and considerate of others. It asks you to show caution and restraint against making rash decisions you may regret later. It tells to be prepared to be open to all options. Otherwise, you may lose out. Stay open-minded. I don't know why my mama always trying to call me in the middle of a reading. I have to call her back. Okay? Let me read to you the star card because I think you really need to hear this. I really do. I want to read to you because this is our outgoing energy. Then we're going to pull cards. Where is it? Here it is. The star promises a change for the better. It has been a symbol of hope and promise for many centuries. The hope and inspiration which the star in the tarot represents is vital for keeping a sense of equilibrium, particularly when life is at a low ebb. Without the special sense of faith and hope of the star, we can simply give up. Everyone needs a goal to believe in, and while that goal is alive within, anything is possible. If we stop believing and lose hope that things can improve, the light goes out in our hearts and ultimately in our lives. Therefore, the star indicates an extremely important stage of the journey to understand and integrate. Our own attitudes to hope are critical to how we live in our lives, how we treat ourselves and others. If we do not respect our own lives, why should we feel any different toward anyone else's? But if we cherish and appreciate life, our attitudes begin to change. It is often when we are in danger of losing something that we begin to appreciate it, and that which we appreciate we cherish. The star, being one of the most positive cards in the tarot, reminds us of hope and gives us inspiration. It is a symbol of our faith in the future and helps us to gather the forces necessary to expand our knowledge and to develop emotionally and spiritually. It gives a sense of protection, inspiration, promise, and joy, and encourages us to develop our inner talents in order to achieve our goals. It brings forth hope, good health, insight, and optimism. It can also bring forth a whole new meaning to life and the divineness of nature. The star tells of the calm which follows a storm and a period of search and quest. It involves finding a way for the star of the soul to shine its light. It is sometimes said that the star card rewards a faith in oneself and in fate. It is a card of meditation, as through meditation, wisdom is gained and the animal forces can be controlled. It symbolizes the magical side to the human spirit which never gives up believing in a better world, no matter how despairing, no matter how dismal. When we have hope, we can carry on. It distributes knowledge to all of humanity to awaken them to universal truths and concepts. What happens on a global scale happens to all of us. The star brings about intellectual awareness and enlightenment. The water depicted in the card is going in the 5 directions and represents the 5 senses. That's this going out in the 5 directions. My finger can't work, okay? The star shown shining brightly overhead. It shows shining brightly overhead with a female emptying jugs of water into a stream. The 2 jugs contain the water of life. One pours into the sea and one onto land. The naked figure depicted is known as the goddess of the stars and indicates peace, contentment, well-being, and represents eternal youth and beauty. This is an Aquarius and a Venus card. So you've got those 2 Venus messages coming up. The green shown is an indication of growth. And the bird depicted is the ibis, the sacred bird of thought and mind. The tree represents the human brain and the nervous system and indicates the act of bringing intellectual activity and thought processes to rest by concentration. It is a message to stop and still the mind in order to meditate properly, for when we stay still, truth is revealed. You know, you running around trying to figure out how to get shit paid, it's difficult to do. The small 8-pointed stars and the larger one all radiate cosmic energy. The smaller 7 stars correspond to the 7 chakra centers of the body. Being ruled by Mercury brings in the powers of the mind and the intellectual urge. Mercury helps one with communication on all levels. Its action is quick and uncertain and sometimes volatile. In association with Gemini, we see the air sign of the twins, the dark and the light sides, the conscious and unconscious, and has to do with the intellectual and mental realms of thought. In its association with Aquarius, the star tells of humanitarianism and intuition. Aquarius is to do with telepathic communication and movement and represents the higher intuitive mind and is tuned into the universal mind. It is the number 17, which is a highly spiritual number, and its symbol is the 8-pointed star of Venus, the star of love. 17, and if we break it down, a 1 and a 7 is another 8. 17 is considered the God energy number, expressed through the spirituality of the number 7 and in the independence of the number 1. It tells of good fortune, power, and authority. This vibration has the ability to do and accomplish anything one is willing to make sacrifices for. Reduced, it becomes a single digit of 8, the number of power, leadership, the teacher, the psychic, and the healer. 8s appearing in a reading are very positive and indicate positive changes. The meaning is, appearing in a reading, the star tells of peace and contentment coming after a period of turmoil, and so represents a return to physical and spiritual health. Fresh beginnings and new experiences may lie ahead. It indicates the bringing of many gifts of the spirit, and it is time to recognize the great love given and received. It is indicating that you are well protected and blessed. You can expect a great deal of spiritual guidance and help in all endeavors under the influence of the star card. It indicates that you are on the right path. It implies that your foundations are firm and you will succeed, and suggests that you should feel a sense of relief and calm. Appearing in a reading, it tells of being filled with inspiration and optimism, preparing you to be ready to take on new challenges. It suggests that insight brings fulfillment. It is also informing you that charity, when offered, should be accepted, and when requested, should be given where possible, with love in the heart. It informs you that your thoughts will become clearer, bringing in a new sense of stability. It indicates that recent difficulties will soon disappear and a new, more positive future will begin. It implies that it is time to reach for the stars, as dreams may now become a reality. It indicates that your brightest hopes and wishes will be fulfilled. The star lets you know that you are well blessed with many strong spiritual forces and energies around you. It indicates that improvement is taking place and you are currently healing. So this is a moment. This is what I keep trying to express to you. You know, we don't see that sometimes when we're in the shit. And to do nothing is a choice. And sometimes you're required to do something without having all of the information, and trusting that if your intuition is pointing you in a right direction, conquer the fear and go with it. Now, of course, you have to do what is best for you. Always make decisions and choices in your own best interest, even when other people don't agree with you. Okay? I'm going to use the Endovena Sibilas here. Some of you are fearful that you don't have the strength to get those dreams and those hopes and those wishes. It's a hiccup. This is temporary. And y'all know what I say. It's always more than one way to skin a cat. Maybe you have to alter your plans. It doesn't mean you have to give up on your hopes, wishes, dreams, goals, and achievements that you want for yourself. Maybe you have to take the scenic circuitous route instead of the direct route. It can still be done. I'm going to pull cards on this upside down Fool. Infantilism, crying, worry. Also, we're dealing with someone who is childlike in a way. Temper tantrums, rash decisions. Not being able to fully appreciate the consequences of the far-reaching decisions being made, but also saying that they really don't give a crap. Now, the Amore card, the love card, has come out. But it's a trap. Now, is this a trap of the mind? A trap of consequences and decisions? Choices that we've made? Maybe it's telling us that it's all a lie. We were trapped by the lie of love, of country, love of people, love of whatever. Okay? I'm going to look at this Two of Swords. These are volatile times, but humanity has gone through worse, darker times and has come out okay. We are a tough species. A fight. Presence. And taking a risk. Now, the way that I'm reading this is that this is a real struggle for some of you. But in effect, it's almost like the universe giving you a gift. You just got to be able to come out of that space to see it as such. The gamblers taking a risk without having all of the information, without knowing what's going to happen. That's what the future is. Okay? None of us know if when we walk out of our front door none of us know if when we get in the tub we don't slip and crack our damn skulls. So nothing is guaranteed, right? There are no guarantees. And the only thing that you can do is the best that you can do. And sometimes you literally have to make decisions on the fly, in the blind, in the dark, without having all of the facts. If that is the case, trust what your intuition is telling you. Okay? Gather your strength, tame those animal forces, stop and think for a moment, and then move forward without ever giving up hope. I tell people sometimes, particularly when they're talking to kids, kids say, oh, I want to be this, that, and the other. And you'll hear some people go, you can't do that. You can't. Sometimes the only thing that people have is hope. Sometimes that's literally all they have to hang on to get up and go another day or another step. Don't take that away from people. Don't take that away from them. I'm going to pull 3 cards on this Knight of Swords, and then I'm going to pull 1 angel answer card, and then I'm going to close this reading down. I am working on the individual readings for February 2019 to be posted to the website galleries. I'm just now finally able to see out of my left eye really much better. It's still not 100%, but I literally had to just stop for 2 days because I couldn't see. Waiting. What we're waiting on. We're waiting not only in fear, but we're waiting for the end. And some of us are fearful that the end is going to be way worse than what we think it is. And while we are in that mental space, we are weak. We are weak. We are weakened. So you are being asked to summon all of your forces. Get to the truth of the situation. Be ready to fight for that shit. Think about it. Plan it. How you're going to invest your time, your energy, your focus. What is this worth to you? What have you put in? Whatever you put in, are you getting that back and out? Do you need to change some things? And if so, what? And don't give up hope. Will it be a struggle? Yes, it may. But the universe is really trying to bring you something. And this could be that card of amicable solutions found. Okay? Let's go to the I don't have the answers, people. I am the conduit to interpret the messages. Each of us has to determine what is the best course of action for ourselves. We cannot shirk the responsibility of that. And when we try to run away from it, like that 7 of Swords, okay, ultimately it always comes back to bite us in the ass in some way. We all have free will. And really it's up to you. So, now, if you've been in a battle with someone or a fight or an argument or someone's been against you, forgiveness is very, very important. But what I have learned in my 53 years of living is that the most important act of forgiveness is forgiving yourself when you find yourself in a situation and you don't know what to do. So if you've been fearful and you've not been looking at the situation the way that you need to, or you haven't been doing, forgive yourself for that. Fear can be a real bastard. Okay? It can prevent you from moving forward and doing the things that you need to do. It can prevent you from looking at the situation with clarity. And it can prevent you from finding any hope in the outcome of a situation. Fear can. And we are taught to turn the other cheek for other people, right? To forgive others as they, but the hardest act of forgiveness is when we try to forgive ourselves. Many of us cannot do that. We cannot afford that same level of compassion and empathy and forgiveness towards those who have transgressed against us to ourselves. This is the lesson. Forgiveness. Forgiveness can work miracles. When you release the past, a weight is lifted from your shoulders and a sense of freedom washes over you. Ask your angels to help you let go of sadness or pain caused by others so that you can be free. This card also refers to a need for self-forgiveness. It is time to let go of any guilt you are holding on regarding past mistakes you may have made. Give yourself credit for having tried your best, even if the results weren't what you would have liked, because it's a moment. Focus on the changes that you've made since then that have made you a better person. So be grateful for the lessons, even if this is one of the hardest times that you've ever gone through. That's what I have for you. I hope these messages have helped you. I think I'm going to put the 60-minute, the 1-hour reading on sale. So by the time that you see that, you see this reading, that's going to be up and ready to go for you. If you can't have the, you're kind of short on dollars, I have a $20 reading, a $30 reading, 20-minute, 30-minute, okay? If you just need a bit of counsel and a bit of perhaps clarity. But also, I think some of you are sometimes fearful of saying the truth. Well, George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Stars used to say, free your mind and your ass will follow. The truth brings with it a clarity and a freedom. That's it. Till next time, thank you for allowing me to read for you. Namaste.